Songwriters and the Streak. All of that is coming up in just a second. This is the show that covers everything Southern. I am John Rawl. So good to have you back on here as we get our lives back up and going following a crazy time in our country the last couple of days. And country music's always crazy good. Well, we want to know what's going on in the world of country music. We turn our attention to Music Row, Nashville, Tennessee. That is where we find our own Preshias Harris. And let me tell you who Preshias Harris is. She is the author of I Know Country, and that has 366 daily country music questions and answers that y'all can really enjoy listening and learning about. Also, she is a music career development consultant right on Music Row in Davidson County, Tennessee. She helps out aspiring songwriters and also artists. You can go to her book or her website for her book. That's I Know Country. Also go to collegeofsongology.com, and her blog is Nashville Music Line, and Preshias Harris is on with us right now on the show that covers everything Music Row and country music and more. Hello, Preshias.
Hey, how are you? There we are.
Yeah, how the heck are you? That's the big question.
Well, everything's so technical these days. You can literally get a phone stand and move wherever you want to. And I forgot and left mine on Music Row today, so I'm sorry. So if you see my phone go clunk, I have to get out on my knees and get it. Just say it.
Yeah, that's okay. We don't have you on here for technical advice. We got you on here for relationship advice. Not just kidding. We got you on here for country music insight. And Preshias, let's go ahead and give the songwriters a lot of love to start out our show today, because the Nashville Songwriters Association has just come out with their new list of inductees to their Hall of Fame. And I'm going to pull up the graphic here. You can see the various artists as part of the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame class of 2020. Are you ready for the unveiling, Preshias?
Yes.
There we have it, class of 2020. Who are we seeing there?
Okay, in the top right-hand corner, you've got...
That's Steve Earle.
No, top right-hand corner, Steve Earle. In the middle is Brent James. And below Steve Earle is Bobbie Gentry. And then Spooner Oldham is to the left of her.
Okay.
Of her, yeah, and Kent Blazy is the one in the far right-hand corner in the blue shirt.
As you look at it, be in your top left corner.
Yes, so it's Kent Blazy, Brent James, Steve Earle. In the bottom row, it's Spooner Oldham and Bobbie Gentry.
All right, and again, this is the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame class of 2020, where these songwriters have been elected to this Hall of Fame, and they'll be added to an impressive list of songwriters and will be officially inducted into this 50-51 edition of the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame Gala, and that'll be coming up real soon. Actually, it's going to be delayed until next year. I guess it's 50-51 because of the fact they've had to delay it a year. Is that why it's like this?
Yeah, 2021, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's okay. I've had a little glass of grape juice tonight. Just kidding. This is the class of 2020, so I even they're going to do it next year. From what I'm understanding, because I get to vote on these because I'm a life member of Nashville Songwriters. What they're going to do is going to do a second class and release that. Once they do that, they're still going to stay in the same guidelines what they usually do by the months beforehand, but they're going to have two inductions for 2021. They're going to have the class of 2020, which is who you're looking at now. And then they'll have a nominations and inducted for the class of 2021. So my girlfriend and I were leaving. We usually get there at 3:00 for the red carpet. Then we do, the mixer hour from 4:30 to 5:30. And then we catch up with old friends. It's so much fun. And I'm so sad that it wasn't this year. But just knowing that we're going to have twice the class next year and twice the fun. So and it's 1 year. It's going to be November the 1st, 2021.
All right, Preshias. I want to talk to you about some of these songwriting credits for this fantastic fivesome here. Now, two of these people on this list are pretty successful singers, maybe more known for their singing than their songwriting. We'll save those two for last. Tell me about some of the credits for Kent Blazy.
Well, he actually wrote one of my favorite songs, If Tomorrow Never Comes," and of course, him and Garth. Garth said he's got a career because of Kim Williams and Pat Alger and Kent. That was his second single, "If Tomorrow Never Comes." Then of course, "Getting You Home," Chris Young's massive, massive hit. They call it "Getting You Home," the Little Black Dress song, and the other one, "Ain't Going Down Till the Sun Comes Up," and I think he did write that with Kim Williams. So, and Kim's already inducted. He got inducted 5 or 6 years ago.
All right, again, Kent Blazy there in your top left in the blue shirt, but he ain't singing the blues with hits like those that you just mentioned. Now, beside Kent is Brett James. Now, I remember him when he was on Arista Records, and he's a guy, again, that you see trying to make it as a music artist, and it just doesn't quite work out, but he found his niche as a songwriter in Music City.
And quite a hit one. One of the biggest songs of that was what they call positive country was "Jesus Take the Wheel," and of course that was Carrie Underwood's big hit. But he's also "When the Sun Goes Down," Kenny Chesney. And of course Rascal Flatts. But I think he's had, if I'm not mistaken, I'm probably lowballing it, but I think he's had 13 #1 songs as a songwriter. But he's an incredible talent. He just got a new record that came out too, right before the pandemic, that he'd been working on, so went ahead and released it. But just go to iTunes, look up Brett James's 2020 record and download it, buy it, share it. It's amazing, amazing, amazing.
Precious, you have one heck of a good name there. I'm kind of envious that Mom and Daddy didn't give me the name Precious. But there might be a better name out there than Precious, and that's Spooner. Spooner Oldham. He's the gentleman right there in the bottom left corner next to Bobbie Gentry. Spooner Oldham, as he has had a couple of hits out there, "Cry Like a Baby," the Box by the Box Tops, "Sweet Inspiration." So I guess Spooner's success has come really outside of country music, although he's going in the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Yes, and I remember, I know they said it was James and Bobbie Purify for "I'm Your Puppet," but I didn't even realize that it was before that, because "I'm Your Puppet," I remember, was the Osmonds with Donny Osmond. I'm like, what are they doing singing Donny Osmond's song? And my husband goes, Donny Osmond is singing their song.
How about that?
But of course, "Cry Like a Baby" is the Box Tops. And one of my good friends, who also is one of my guitar teachers for my kids and teaches you 17 ways to play a G chord, is Gary Talley. He's got his own website, GaryTalley.com. But he actually did the guitar on the massive hit Box Tops. He was opening up for Elvis when he was 17 years old. He's from Memphis. So I'm so excited for Mr. Spooner.
Okay, let's move on to the stars of this fivesome going into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame, and we'll start out with the guy here, Steve Earle, multiple Grammy Award winner, of course known for his solo career on MCA Records back in the 1980s with songs like Copperhead Road, Guitar Town, of course a classic, and The Devil's Right Hand. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is he from Kentucky or Tennessee? He might be from Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee. I would remember he was from Kentucky.
Yeah, of course you would.
But,
all right, so Steve Earle, singer and songwriter, going into this hall.
Yes, and of course he also has a duet. I know he had multiple Grammy Awards, but I have a picture of him and Danny Shirley, the lead singer from Railroad, together when I was an intern. And I thought, this is such a classic picture. And I asked my supervisor at the time, Jules, if I could have a copy of it. She gave me a copy of the picture, and I actually made a copy and gave it to Danny Shirley about 10 years ago. He didn't even realize that there was pictures made of him and Steve Earle out there. So I was actually able to give him a copy of that. So it made me feel really good.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned the old Jules and Atlantic Records days here. We're talking to Precious Harris. She's on Music Row, Nashville, Tennessee. This is the Nashville Music Line Report. Now, that last person on this Songwriters Hall of Fame list might be the biggest mystery going in Nashville and country music history. Bobbie Gentry, she's going into this Hall of Fame. She's still alive. You may think she's deceased. She's still going, but the question is, where the heck is she and what's she doing? Maybe she'll actually show up for this awards. What do you know about Miss Ode to Billy Joe?
Well, I'm not surprised that she's in there, but I think they always try to have a female the last several years, but she's the one. Reba redid her song "Fancy." Originally, it was done by her. Then, of course, "Oh to Billy Joe." But she's one of those classic voices. Within the first 3 seconds, you're going to know it's Bobbie Gentry. So I'm actually glad to see her in there. But I have not heard anything about where she is or where she's at. So hopefully she'll show up.
I was just talking about her 2 weeks ago, Precious, and I'm working on it. But I think I've got a tip of where she might be living these days. And I actually live pretty darn close to where she supposedly is living. And how do I know where she's living? I was in Greenwood, Mississippi just 2 weeks ago, and that's her hometown. That's where she went to high school and more. And there's about 2 or 3 people in Greenwood who actually keep up with her. And I was told by someone that they think that she's in a town not all that far from where I am, Precious. So
you're trying to be like Becky, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. So I'm going to have to go cross that Tallahatchie Bridge and see if I don't see Bobbie Gentry. Again, artist, songwriter, known for "Ode to Billy Joe," "Fancy," and "Morning Glory." Do you know, was she a co-writer or writer on those songs?
She is. I think because she's nominated for the Artist Songwriter Award.
Okay.
So I'm sure she's probably co-writer of those, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. Well, again, this is a class that's not going to be inducted till quite some time. The Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame, class of 2020. More to come on that. And speaking, Precious, of great songwriters, let's move on to a guy who not only is a songwriter, a successful songwriter, but he does it in a way nobody's ever done and likely will never do it again. He does it with both style and humor. And we got to talk about the streak. Ray Stevens. We've got some Ray Stevens news to pass along here as we continue our conversation with Precious Harris right here on the Nashville Music Line Report, as it's been 50 years since country music had the release of the award-winning multi-million selling #1 hit song "Everything Is Beautiful" by Mr. Barksdale. And to celebrate this occasion, 50 years of "Everything Is Beautiful," Mr. Stevens is now releasing a newly recorded 2020 version of this song, Precious. We're dying to learn more. Tell me about it.
Well, Ray has always been really, really good at reinventing himself. He also have Cabaret, the live show venue here in West Nashville. But there's 2 different versions that are available for iTunes, but it's actually a very almost like full circle for the 50 years it's been, because it's been 50 years and everything is beautiful. I remember seeing the video of everybody walking down the hill, and it reminds me of the same visual you see on "I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing in Perfect Harmony." But anyway, but it was a perfect ode for this year about everything is beautiful and just trying to find the silver lining in the cloud. So I know that he said when he looks back, a friend of mine sent me some liner notes from him, and he said, "I just can't believe it's been 50 years. He said, "I don't feel 50 years. But I think it's, I'm probably going to have to download when I get it. But he is funny. I have a little autistic nephew who has to have everything Ray Stevens. He's got my mugs. He took my T-shirts, everything. But Ray was so courteous to him when we got to meet him backstage. And I let him know that he was special needs, But Ray said, I'll take care of it. And he said, "You want to get a picture, buddy?" He goes, "Yes." So good, Ray. But yeah, it dropped actually the 30th on Friday. Yeah, the actual dropped on Thursday. She can buy it now.
Yeah, and I noticed this is out distributed by Curb Records.
Yes, I don't know if he's on the label or if it's just distribution through Curb, because they do have their own service.
Okay.
So, but I know he's been through several record deals. And they did have a Ray Stevens building till about a year ago. And Scott Borchetta, if I remember right, in the Big Machine group with Scooter Brown and all them, or Scooter Braun, is going to be, they're actually building there on the corner of 17th and Grand, where Ray's office was, is going to be the new corporate offices for Big Machine. So, I took one last picture of the Ray Stevens, because it had a sign outside that said Ray Stevens Music on the corner there. But yeah, he's quite a character. And of course, my husband was in his movie Get Serious. He's the hotel clerk that keeps getting the pie in his face.
What a talent! That's probably how y'all fell in love there. And
And
how
half I'm
about
happy.
the vintage picture there of Ray Stevens? I don't think I've seen too many photos of Ray Stevens without his beard. So I'm glad to know that everything's beautiful. 50 years old now. Let's talk about a collaboration that's beautiful, Precious, as we move on here in the country music spotlight that we do with Precious Harris, our insider on Music Row. And let's talk about the boys from Muscle Shoals, Shenandoah, and they're teaming up with an Arkansan, Ashley McBryde, with the release of If Only. Tell me more about this duo, this collaboration.
I just got the press release last week. They haven't had a chance to look at it, but Ashley and them, they actually have been doing a lot of stuff. They've got a new record label, and
Shenandoah does.
Free Foundry Records, I think they're on New Foundry, and that was Colt, their manager, just a sweet, smart guy. Anyway, but her and Shenandoah have done a duet together, and it's released this week. I think it was released this week. But anytime you can sing with Shenandoah, it's a good thing. One of my clients was on The Voice, and he actually did. He loved Shenandoah, and after he got performing their song on The Voice, Marty, of course, he had met Marty with me at different functions around, like at Christmas for Kids bus tour last year, and but Marty was, thank you for doing us proud on The Voice, guys. So I love my Shenandoah. I was in Muscle Shoals actually Sunday. There they are. There's my Mike, the drummer, and there's Miss Ashley, who I just adore. I love her as an artist, as a songwriter, and just a good human being. I'm so glad she's got success. I'm so happy for her.
All right. And again, If Only is part of an upcoming album available everywhere. It's now number 13, or I think it's everywhere, November 13th, rather, via Foundry Records. And you'll also find collaborations on this with Luke Bryan, Blake Shelton, Dierks Bentley, Lady Antebellum, Zach Brown Brand, Carly Pierce, Cody Johnson, Brad Paisley. If Only is the song out with Ashley McBryde, and as you said, she's getting a lot of attention these days. This is a song written by Lori McKenna, Phil Barton, and Jared Boyer, If Only. And that follows I'd Take Another One of Those with Zach Brown, and Every Time I Look at You with Lady Antebellum. And what a great collaboration. Looking forward to hearing this one. It ought to be a lot of fun. Let's move on to some fun parts of the Y'all Show as we talk with Precious right there on Music Row. Let's ask a little trivia question if you don't mind, Precious. And again, hold your answer until just a few minutes if you don't mind. This comes to us courtesy of I Know Country, which Precious Harris actually composed that book, and that is available in print, and an ebook edition is also available. The trivia question this week: what is the title of Carrie Underwood's debut single at Inside My Heart, Inside or Love, or Inside Your Heaven? What is the name of her debut single? And we're going to tell you that answer, and we'll also tell you what year it was. It's sadly for all of us who know that song, it's been a few years. Time is just ticking on by. Who is number one? Who's doing well on the country music chart right now? The Billboard Hot Country Top 5 chart for right this second. Lee Brice has fallen from number 1. He's at number 5 this week with One of Them Girls. Morgan Wallen and More Than My Hometown checks in at number 4 this week. Jason Aldean has got What I Got is 3 this week. Gabby Barrett, well, she's getting a lot of press. She's at 2 with I Hope. And number 1, Luke Combs and his, I think it's 9th number 1 now, Forever and, is it Forever and All? Is that right?
Forever and All, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
That's the name of it. I just know the music behind it. Forever and All is only the 6th time a song has debuted at number 1 on the Hot Country Songs chart. No wonder I didn't know the song. It debuted at number 1. Are you kidding me?
No. He's they're not comparing him to other artists yet, but he is breaking records that other artists have held. And it goes to show it's like Jason Aldean has had the same producer for his entire career. He's had a superstar of a career, artist of the decade, ACM. He's had Michael Knox as his producer since the get go of his career. He's very loyal. Jason is very loyal. And Michael Knox's daddy was a huge 50s bopper, by the way, called Buddy Knox.
Oh,
He
yeah.
wrote Come Along and Be My Party Doll. And, but, so Knox, Michael has a way to get in. But back to that, Luke Combs has a writing partner and friends with him who took a chance and actually helped develop Luke's writing and was like one of Luke's biggest mentors. And his name is Ray Fulcher. And so he had, I think, 6 or 7 cuts on the first record. And I know that Ray Fulcher is opening up the shows for him, and he continues to be a mainstay. So it works really well. And Luke is smart enough. He's been here long enough to know the business that loyalty is everything in this town, especially when you've got someone believing in you and standing behind you when the odds there could be 0 for your chance to make it in a time when things are changing in the music industry. He was bringing out new music. Bro country was sort of going in the shadows. A new wave of country that was sort of like the mid 2000s was coming in. And Luke just hit that notch. And great writer. He's learned very well. He would hang out at Whiskey Jam and soak everything in from the performance and the writer. So that's why he's seasoned, just knowing that he was in the right place at the right time. So kudos to him. And you will be seeing some bigger announcements in the couple of weeks about Luke and his career.
And Precious, I don't necessarily have the inside track on these artists' personal lives like I know you do there on Music Road, but if I am not confused, I think over the last couple of days on socialist media, did I not see a picture of Luke Combs in a wedding suit like he'd just gotten married?
Yeah, it's actually 2 weeks ago. I think he got married too.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. But they've been together for 2 or 3 years. So they were together a while. I actually met her. We were doing escorts 2 years ago.
You were in an escort service?
Yeah, I was in an escort service. I was actually escorting an artist and a songwriter from the show Nashville. And they were coming through. We're trying to make sure we're trying to keep the hallway cleared in the backstage area because of fire marshal regulations. Excuse me. But we were coming through and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And she's just sweet as she can be. And we weren't even nowhere near, but she was just trying to get out of the way of the traffic backstage. But very sweet girl. And so I'm glad it's, especially when you're dating someone and being involved with someone who it's that trying to have a career, you've got to be very supportive, and especially when you're newlyweds. So she knew what she was getting into 2 or 3 years before they married. So, and she's a huge, huge support, which is what you need if you're going to be a spouse of someone who's going to be a major superstar in country music.
Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Luke Combs. This week in country music history, the number one song in 1983 was Islands in the Sun. The Bee Gees pin hit for the, well, it says on this sheet. I thought that looked wrong. It's Islands in the Stream. Typo. Sorry, my mistake. Islands, you should have heard Islands in the Sun. Actually,
I know.
I'm not going to question who comes up with this material. It wouldn't surprise me that this song might have been originally titled Islands in the Sun, and then they changed it. Who knows? But it was the number one song, of course. You know who sang that. Kenny and Dolly. Big song back in 1983. Come On Over, Shania Twain's third studio album, came out this week in 1997. And then it was back in 1960 this week. Johnny Horton was killed tragically in a car wreck just in East Texas. And if you ever look into that, he actually kind of predicted his own death in that car wreck. It really, really weird stuff from Johnny Horton, Battle of New Orleans, and Johnny Reb, and more. And it was then this week in 1991, Ropin' the Wind from Garth Brooks, his third studio album, was number one on the Billboard Country album charts. Hey, want to say happy birthdays this week to Whispering Bill Anderson. Bill born in 1937, so Bill Anderson now 83 years young. Precious, born in the same town I was born in, Columbia, South Carolina.
That's right. He's a deep Southerner. I'd forgotten that. He's got a new record coming out, and He's always doing something. Always.
Yeah, Bill. A lot of people think he's a Georgia boy. Of course, he is, but his early life was there across that Savannah River in the state of South Carolina. Lyle Lovett with a birthday this week. Also, Big Kenny. I actually saw, speaking of socialist media, I saw a really good picture of Kenny and his son taken and putting out on social media this week as Big Kenny, a 57th birthday for him this week. Katie Lang, haven't heard her name mentioned in a long time. She has a birthday this week. How about this guy, Delbert Mcclinton, the soulful Delbert Mcclinton? He turns 80 years young. He was born in 1940, I think. And then we also have birthdays, the late, great Roy Rogers and Billy Sherrill, who died in 2015, once married to Tammy Wynette, right?
Nope.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. She had her first husband was the P-U-G-H, Pew, that she had her 3 daughters by. Her second husband was George Jones, but she has Georgette by. And her third husband is George Ritchie, but him and Billy Sherrill were really good friends.
Don't want to confuse anybody. Don't want to start any rumors. My apologies to the first lady of country music. Yes, okay. I knew there was a Tammy Wynette connection there, but
oh, yeah, totally.
Billy Sherrill, producer there with a birth. He died. He died. He was born this week. He died August of 2015. All right, let's get to that trivia question, then we're going to sign off with you, Precious Harris. That trivia question, my goodness, people, if you don't know this one this week, you need to go back to elementary school. That trivia question, I Know Country, is the book. Go check it out from Precious Harris. The trivia question is, what is the title of Carrie Underwood's debut track? Was it called Inside My Heart, Inside Our Love, or Inside Your Heaven? Which of those three was it, Miss Precious?
Inside Your Heaven.
Are you sure?
Yes, I think it was off her Carnival ride.
I think you're right. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and remained there for 7 weeks. Of course, she was a huge success on American Idol, and that was in the height of the success of American Idol, so that helped propel her to great stardom. But it was a great song. She did a great job recording it, and that's why it was such a huge way to get her career going. And she's still got that career going. I see her every Sunday night when I cut on Sunday Night Football on NBC. Carrie Underwood, truly one of the greats in country music, and that was a big track when it debuted. Do you have the year for that? I thought that would be listed here. I don't have the year for that.
Carnival Ride?
Pardon me?
Carnival Ride?
Yeah, what year? What year are we talking about?
7 or 8, somewhere in there.
I will say 2007.
It's 2 to 3 years after she got The Voice. And I think last time I looked, which was last year, it'd been 11 years. So it's been more than a decade for sure.
All right. Y'all can Google that if you want, but congratulations for a great career, Carrie Underwood. Precious, thank you so much. Always great to catch up with you here on Nashville Music Line, and we'll do it again next week.
Hopefully you'll be able to come visit next week.
Oh, am I invited?
You're always invited. Doors
right.
always.
What's going on? Before we sign off, just give the listeners, viewers, a little preview of what is there anything exciting going on in Nashville before the end of this month?
Yes, the CMA Awards is November the 11th.
Okay.
I do know that there's something going on, but it's
no wonder you want me to come. You want me to put on my best and attend the CMA Awards. Okay, I'll be there.
I wish. You and I get to watch it on TV together. We'll get our big screen out. But,
yeah, we can do that.
They're actually having an invitation only, very, very private. Only 30 people are allowed. They're doing some pre-filming stuff this Friday, Saturday, and Monday, I think. That's all I can tell you because I swore to secrecy, cross my heart. But it is November the 11th, and I think it's Central, 7 Central and 8, probably still on the network. Anyway, 8
it used
o'clock.
to always be on CBS, but I think ABC's been stealing a bunch of these award shows. So.
Yes, and for some odd reason, maybe it's because they had a replay of the CMA last year in August, and it was on ABC for the CMA when they were over at the Titan Stadium, when they had like the big dogs like the Jason Aldeans and the Keith Urbans and the Carries. They all played there. They taped it. I think Kelsey Ballerini and Thomas Rhett was the host of it last year in the summer, but it was a show. But it's definitely November the 11th.
Precious, book a room at the Precious Inn. I'll be there for CMA Week 20 2020. Thank you so much, and it's great to catch up with you again.
See you later, alligators. Bye.
All right, Preshias Harris right here on Nashville Music Line, and that is our conclusion of this Nashville Music Line for this week. Stay tuned for more great interviews on this, the show that covers everything Southern.